Welcome back, my kittens. We are once again playing Connected Hearts. Last time, we ran into this wolf, and we decided to confront it, and that resulted in our presumably gruesome death. So this time, we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to run away. I don't doubt in hearing my instincts. Without second thoughts, I turn around and start running as fast as I can. Coward! Arr! Scary wolf! I hear it yell behind my back, not knowing if it was following me or not. I just don't think about it. I only want to get as far away as possible. I run like never before in my life. I've never been really fit, but I also never had motivation as good as this to keep running. I hear my rushed footsteps over the leaves of the forest, until I finally stop to catch my breath after running for unknown minutes. I'm surprised he didn't trip and fall on a root or something, because running in a forest is actually a lot harder than it looks, especially when you're in a blind panic. I gasp for air, feeling my legs and chest burning. Then I look back, finding relieved that there was only shadows and twisted trees. The beast was left behind. I close my eyes and sigh, just before collapsing on the ground. I have no more strength to stand up. My heart keeps beating fast, reminding me of the danger. I want to get out of here, I say to myself, closing my eyes for a moment. Even though your eyes were already closed, I take a deep breath, trying to relax. When my eyes open again, I look around with curiosity. What is this? I said, noticing there was a sheet of paper on the ground. Curious, I get closer and pick it up. Then I read what it says. Don't try to speak with the wolves. Don't feed them. They're gremlins. How weird. I murmur, confused by the strange message. Talking with the wolves is out of discussion. It doesn't seem like they have much to tell me anyway. The strangest part is the one about feeding them. I have the impression it doesn't mean to give them food, but to end up as food for them. That's just common sense. Plus, what happens if you feed them? Because that other wolf was already eating and it didn't really seem to affect it at all. My head hurts after trying to imagine it. I think it is better for me to forget about it. I keep on moving. I still have to find a safe place to spend the night. Without delay, I stand up and resume walking. Only this time, I'm much more nervous than before. Now I am sure there is something dangerous hiding between the shadows of this haunted forest. It's not exactly hiding. It's very obvious. Just knowing it makes my heart beat anxious. I keep on walking without saying a word, just listening to the lonely sound of my footsteps. At first, the silence was very comforting, since I knew that as long as I don't hear anything, I'm safe. That's not necessarily true. In forests, you should be hearing birds and animals, even at nighttime, constantly. If you don't, that means A, they're either all dead, and that's not good, because it means there's like a disease or something that killed them, or they are sensing danger that you do not sense, so they are staying silent. However, slowly it got more and more upsetting, until reaching the point it was unbearable. The silence, being so alone and surrounded by nothingness, is just depressing. I feel like if everything I do is a meaningless effort. I rub my forehead out of frustration. I just don't know what to do. I have no map, no clue, not even a loose idea to give me some sense of direction. I was about to lose my mind when suddenly I noticed what seems to be a building in the distance. I squint, trying to see better what it is. It's a cabin in the woods. An old wood cabin in the forest. Finally! I exclaimed cheerfully. At the same time, my heart jumps excited. Why would it be cheerful? It's shelter, but it's a lot of bad things happen in cabins in woods. So, after getting closer, I realize it is in really bad shape. Old, damaged by the time and exposure to the elements, with the door and windows broken. At night, and inside this forest, it seems like the ideal place for a horror story, a lonely cabin in the middle of a haunted forest. That's exactly what I was saying. I just hope the wolves have scared away the witches. You're getting your analogies mixed up a little bit there. Whatever. When I'm about to get in, I notice that beside the broken door, there is a note nailed to it. What is it nailed to? What? I read what it says. The talking wolves have a weak sense of smell. As long as you keep quiet and don't stand out, they won't see you. Weak sense of smell? I would expect it to be the opposite. I guess that explains what I haven't found others. That sentence doesn't explain anything. Looks like they aren't very good at tracking their prey. I take a deep breath before stepping inside the cabin. I hear the boards creaking with each step I take, making me uneasy. At no time I think about asking if someone is home. It would be better if it was abandoned. I beg for it to be. The inside of the cabin is as damaged as the exterior. The furniture is covered by a thick layer of dust, and there are cobwebs everywhere. So at least spiders are alive. I find some oil lamps, but they are all empty. With curiosity, I try to light one of them with no results, because I don't have matches, or a lighter. The chairs, tables, and other furniture are in such bad state that it seems a single touch would be enough to make them fall apart, so I avoid doing it. The oven has coal inside, but it doesn't seem to have been used in a long time. Oh, you could make a fire. Coal, broken furniture, apparently something you can use to light a fire. Maybe Gary just has a blowtorch in his back pocket. I don't know. I continue exploring until finally stopping in front of a door. My heart jumps when I feel a chill run over my spine. I hold my breath, unable to believe it. There is light coming out from under the door. It is perfectly quiet, but just seeing the light in there makes me think there is someone inside. There's electricity, unless that's candlelight. However, the hard part is guessing who that could be. At least I don't think it's a wolf. Maybe it's a werewolf. Then suddenly, I remember what I thought before. It was only a joke when I said that about the witches, but now I was actually considering it. I don't knock on the door, just carefully open it, holding my breath as I wait for what would be revealed on the other side. My eyes open wide in surprise. At the same time, my face gets pale with incredulity as I see in front of me a little girl laying on the floor and reading a book. I look at her in silence without moving a single muscle. Not gonna alert her to your presence. Okay, that's not creepy at all. I don't know what I should do. I'm not even sure it was real. Yet, Here it is, in front of my eyes, looking so innocent. Suddenly the girl blinks and notices my presence. She then turns her head, staring at me for a couple of seconds. Ah! Without a reason, she has a reason. You're standing creepily in her house staring at her without saying anything. Without a reason, she exclaimed, terrified, standing up with a single move and getting behind the bed in the room. It was her protecting shield against the unwanted invader that I was. I scratched my head, confused. Why would you be confused? You literally just said you are the unwanted invader. Then raised my hands, showing with a gesture that I don't have bad intentions. I don't say anything. Okay. I stay like that, still and quiet, for a moment for her to calm down. Talking and say something like, I'm not here to hurt you, sorry for startling you, might be a little bit better, There you go. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. After saying that, I noticed how she peeks from behind the bed. It might sound silly, but to me it was incredibly cute. Not really. It's a kid, so at least I assume it's a kid. Don't be shy. It's only I'm lost and was looking for a place to rest for the night. I stopped for a moment to let her say something, but after getting no answer for a while, I continue. My name is Gary. What's yours? I smile gently as I crouch so we can see at each other's eyes. I stare at her and she stares back at me, as if we could see the interior of our hearts in our eyes. Her look is fragile but honest. She blinks, taking a few more seconds before finally getting out from behind the bed. It makes me glad to see she finally seems to trust me. Mary, my name is Mary. It's nice to meet you, Mary. My name is Gary. I pause, noticing the way she looks at me. You can trust me. She tilts her head and slowly gets closer. Oh, she has a little plushie. Sheep plushie. Wasn't there a sheep plushie laying on the bed earlier? I don't remember. You're not a wolf, right? Her question confuses me for a second. However, soon I remember my past experience. No, without a doubt, I'm not. Actually, I found this place after getting away from one of them. Ah! She exclaimed, surprised, then gets even closer until we are finally face to face. Mary hugs a sheep plushie all the time. She doesn't seem more than 7 years old. I tilt my head as I look at her with curiosity. Your parents, are they around here? She shakes her head. No, I've never seen them. Since I have memory, I have lived here alone. All alone? There is no one to make you company? I wasn't thinking when I said that. My lips moved by reflex. It isn't until I see how she lowers her sight with sadness that I realize my mistake. It was just a simple question. I don't see how that could have a mistake on it. She gives no answer other than shaking her head in denial, but that's enough. I'm sorry. I pause and sigh, lowering my face for a moment. Then I look at her into the eyes. Mary, how long have you been in this place? For as long as she can remember. She blinks while thinking about it. I can't remember, but as long as I know, I have always been here. Those words made my heart feel heavy, as if it had suddenly turned into lead. By the way she says it, it sounds as if she was born in this cabin. But somehow, I expected that answer. You have been waiting all this time here? She nods, hugging tighter her plushie. Yes. You don't have an idea of how many days have passed? 7 times 365. I would have multiplied that, but, story. Once again, she shakes her head in denial. No, you see, here it's always night, so I can't count the days. How I know days consist of day and night, I don't know, because this is all I know is continual night in this cabin. I'm astonished after hearing that. In silence, I try to think what does it mean, or rather, I try to accept it as true. No matter how many times I repeat to myself that I'm in another world, my mind always tries to find logic, a thing that doesn't possibly exist. Okay, but if it's always night, then that means there's no sun rising, meaning those trees shouldn't exist. And they can't just be dead trees because before the leaves were crunching underfoot. So that meant they must have dropped their leaves short enough a time ago that it was still able to crunch. And yeah, so magic, I guess. Is that something bad? Mary's voice pulls me back to reality. I instantly look into her eyes, not knowing what to say. My face must look very silly right now. I'm not sure about calling it bad, but I don't think it is right to be in a place like this all the time. Okay, but she said that she's lived here her whole life. She doesn't have any memory of anything else, so it's natural to her. There is no right or wrong to it. It's like if some creature came and saw the way you were living and was like, it's wrong that you live this way because you're not able to experience the fourth dimension or something else that we can't even comprehend until it being explained to us. No, she's not a prisoner. She is a prisoner. There are no locks or cells, but she can't escape from this place, and it seems me neither. I like this place, she said suddenly, shaking all my ideas. You like it? You don't feel lonely or bored? No, more importantly, you don't feel hungry being in here? Somehow, I think I knew that answer even before asking. Mary shakes her head. No, it's not like that. I never feel hungry, so I don't need to eat. And I like being alone. Here, there are many books to read. I scratch my head while making a confused face. Have you ever been outside this cabin, where the wolves could easily eat you? Mary trembles when she hears my question. She then hides her face behind her plushie in such a way I can only see from her eyes up. No, the wolves are outside. I hate them. I don't want to cross paths with them. Yes, you are right, I said, feeling stupid, because I am stupid, asking questions like that. Then I take a deep breath as I think. They don't come so close to the cabin. This is a safe place, right? Mary nods. Yes, I don't know why, but they never get near here. I think they believe it is empty. She then shyly looks away. The talking wolves have a weak sense of smell, so as long as they don't see you or hear you, they won't attack you. That sounds familiar. Yeah, it was on the paper you read. Like, literally 10 minutes ago. That's right. It's exactly what was written in the note at the entrance. So, is she the one that wrote these notes or something? Or someone she knew? Where did you read that, Mary? I ask while staring at her, but always with gentle eyes. She tilts her head, confused. She tries to remember, but it seems she finds nothing. I can't remember, but it's the truth. It's been a long while since they last came near, because I know how to hide. She then looks down and hugs her plushie, looking terribly shy. If you want, you could stay here and make me company. Her question takes me by surprise. I stay silent, with my mind blank, before feeling a chill. Then I realize all this time she has been staring at me deeply, waiting for my answer, as she hides her face behind her plushie. Why do I take so long to answer? Am I actually considering it? The answer should be obvious. I have to get out of here. But every time I think about it, the image of the wolf comes to my mind. Its sharp fangs are something I never want to see again in my life. For a moment, I doubt what is even the right choice. I think about going back home, but I don't even know if that's possible. And if I face those wolves, the most likely outcome is my end. I have no words. I'm ashamed of how cowardly my indecision is. I only think in running away from the pain, leaving behind all else. Gary? It's not until Mary calls my names that I snap out. She blinks while looking at me confused. I'm sorry, I lost myself for a moment, I said, before shyly smiling at her. Mary doesn't seem to get it, so I quickly lose my smile. Get what? I don't get it. Like, she doesn't know what being lost is in your own head? Then would you like to stay here? I swallow saliva as I hear that question resound in my head. I think about it for long seconds, unable to reach an answer. None of the options convince me. No, I'm sorry, but I have to be honest, I finally said after a moment that felt too long. The worlds come directly out of my heart. Apparently you're just shooting worlds, planets. Thinking too much about it instead of helping me was confusing me more. You won't stay? Mary wasn't expecting that answer from me. She isn't angry or even sad, just astonished, as if I had said something crazy. Well, for all she knows, this is the only safe place in the entire woods surrounded by wolves. So, makes sense in her head. Yeah, in her eyes it must be. You were not afraid of the wolves? She hides her face behind her plushie as she asks that question. I scratch my head in a shy gesture. Actually, I am, and a lot, but I don't believe I could feel comfortable staying here for the rest of my life. She tilts her head, then looks at me confused. You don't like this place? When she asked that question, I noticed how she hugs her plushie very tight. It seems it was hard for her to think so. No, nothing like that, but I don't want to be here forever. I have a home and a life I want to go back to. This is your home and you don't have a life. I don't want to be stuck here with you. Being a babysitter for a 7-year-old. I look deeply at her as I talk. I would like to explain to her how I feel, but sadly, I have never been good with words. I can't say I'm very excited to return to my life of homework and school. But making my life just be a small room is definitely something I don't want. I shyly scratch my head before speaking. Mary, actually, I don't think I can be as strong as you are. If I were to stay in this place, well, I'd get depressed after a short time. That's why I apologize, but I can't accept your offer. She lowers her face, disappointed, then closes her eyes and sighs. It's my fault, right? You don't have to hide it. I'm sorry. I won't bother you anymore. Something inside of me moves after seeing her make that face. What are you saying? No, it's not your fault, Mary. I feel confused. I stare at her in silence without knowing what to say. Mary looks back at me, with fragile eyes as if her life depends on it. I knew she was silly, but I think she is a lot more than I expected. I knew she was shy. I shake my head, then gently pet hers. Is she now your dog? Mary, it's not your fault. You were a good girl. Now, sit. Roll over. I don't know how to say it, but I don't think I can be happy in a place so small as this. There are still many things I would like to do, and if I stay in this place, I would never get a chance to do them. I pause and breathe, taking the moment to look into her eyes. She looks much better now, but stares at me full of curiosity for what I was going to do. She is right. If I don't want to stay, what other choices do I have? What? I think you missed, a dialogue there. Mary, do you know about any exits from this forest? As if I had said something unthinkable, I see how she opens her eyes wide, astonished. An exit? After saying those words, she hides her face behind her plushie. I do. There is an exit. I blink, confused. Then I feel my heart jump excited. Really? Oh, it's probably where all the wolves are, isn't it? So it's like impossible to get to. I said, excited, unable to control myself, seeing later how she shyly nods. But you can't go there. It's on the den of the wolves. Yep. They do use shy and shyly a lot. Like, it's starting to get a little bit irritating. Get a thesaurus if you need to come up with more words. Mary trembles and hides her face fully. She avoids looking at me, as if it was her fault. Suddenly, I go quiet, immobile too, as if I had turned to stone. All the excitement of just a few seconds ago died in less than a blink. Of course, it couldn't be so easy. It's just so unfair. I look down, feeling hopeless. Well, you could, I guess, gather up a bunch of stuff from the cabin, books and pieces of wood and stuff, and, throw it to distract the wolves to go a different direction while you sneak by. It might make it work a little bit. Again, the memory of the wolves' things flash in my mind. Plus, they're noisy, so you'd hear where they would be, because they're constantly talking. For a moment, I forgot about everything but that image and the fear it produces in me. Gary? She called shyly. I'm sorry, I lost myself for a moment. Are you going to understand what it means this time? That's fine, but... She pauses and looks down. Now that you know we can't escape, what are you going to do? Do you still don't like the idea of staying with me? When I hear those words, I feel a hole open inside me. Is it true we can't escape? I look around slowly. Not that you can't, just that it'd be very difficult. Put your mind to it. You might have a chance, if you have enough luck. It's too small. A tiny, safe place with books, lamps, a bed, and some toys. I sigh before speaking. Mary. I pause after calling her name, looking right into her eyes. Her own are so fragile, as if her soul could break with just yelling at her. Okay, why are you considering yelling at her? She's just a kid. She says she is happy alone, but her insistence makes me think that's not quite right. How long have you been in this place? Oh, Gary! Stop asking the same questions that she's answered multiple times. I asked suddenly. Then I pet her head tenderly, hoping to inspire trust in her. Once again, it's a little bit weird. Like, you've barely, known this girl for 15 minutes, and you're just invading her personal space and touching her head. That is not something you do. Whatever. She blinks at the question. I already answered this, but I don't know. It has been many days, but everything is always dark, like I said before. Don't you think it's been long enough? The room gets quiet. Mary stares at me, astonished for a couple of seconds. Then she hides her face completely behind her plushie. She avoids my eyes and hides her own. Looks like she's even more confused than myself. For a moment, I feel guilty. What should I say? I have to be strong and get out from here, or it's not wrong to be afraid. Well, a mixture of both. It isn't wrong to be afraid. Being afraid does not mean you're a coward. If you're brave, despite that fear, you're going to move forward despite it. And you're going to be strong. And in this situation, you would get out. Potentially. But I guess I'll go with it's not wrong to be afraid. Mary, it's not wrong to be afraid. I say with pure honesty, making later a shy smile. She then lowers her plushie, showing me her eyes, then instantly looks away in shyness. The only thing I can think on doing is gently petting her head. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Thankfully, she doesn't reject my hand. She didn't all the other times. Why would she start now? I'm very afraid, but I don't think I can be happy living in this place forever. You don't like this place? I'm sorry. Mary looks down, feeling guilty. I shyly smile as I think on what to say. I'm sorry, but I think I didn't explain myself correctly. What I wanted to say is, don't you want to see what is beyond this forest? What is beyond? She murmured, confused, looking up at me. Her fragile eyes can't stop looking at mine. I don't know. I have never seen it. I read in books about the sea and the cities, but I don't know if I would like them. I also read about giant aliens who eat people. I don't think I'd like those either. How I'm supposed to know the difference between fantasy and reality in my books, I don't know. Sometimes I think the best place for me is inside this cabin. Leaving it would be a mistake. Mary then looks down. I don't get it. I don't get, but I know for sure I'm not happy with that answer. I feel sorry for her. Is out there really such a good place? Her question makes me think. What should I say? You should find it by yourself, or it's better than being here. Well, it's not necessarily better than being there. The world can be an awful place, but I personally think freedom is more important than happiness. If given the option between having the freedom of doing what you want and thinking what you want and just being who you are, it's better than being completely satisfied with your life. But I can't say it's better because it might not be for her. So I guess you should find it out by yourself. Make your own life. I don't know. I could tell you it is, but I think it's better for you to find it on your own. That way, if you don't like it, at least you will be able to live without doubts. I looked down for a moment, thinking on what's awaiting me if I managed to get out. Not just from the forest, but from the whole dream. It might not be much, but I prefer my home than being here. I wouldn't be able to call it a full life in this place. I would like to meet more people, to do more with my life. And I don't know, maybe life has a surprise for me waiting around the corner. I sigh while seeing how she stares at me. It's a warm feeling, knowing my words were finally having an effect on her. Mary, I would like you to come with me. Mary shivers after hearing my words. She looks at me, hiding her face behind her plushie, confused. She's not angry, nor disgusted by the idea. It's more as if she never thought about it, or she's scared. However, suddenly she looks down. And what about the wolves? It's true, even if I have will to do it, there is a big obstacle before me. It's not that easy as just making a choice. I don't know. I guess I'll think of something. There must be some way of scaring them away. My first idea is to use fire. It's common sense that animals are afraid of it. However, these talking wolves are weird. Strangely, they seem to be attracted by light, so it might not be such a good idea. How do you know they're attracted to light? No, where did you learn that? Because you didn't experience it with the wolf, and I'm pretty sure you never read a note that said they're attracted by light. And you said seem, so you're assuming they are. Whatever, I guess knowledge from mystical being called the author. But that would actually be useful. That's another distraction you could use. Like, light the forest on fire and they'll be attracted. Don't light the forest on fire. Smokey won't be happy with you. Are you very smart, Gary? No, he's not. Don't trust him. Mary's voice pulls me back to reality. I notice how she stares at me with curiosity, then smiles, ashamed. Well, actually, I think it would be better to say I am creative. I end with a friendly chuckle. At least I would like to say I am. Mary smiles, and that melts my heart. If she wasn't so shy, she'd be an incredibly adorable girl. Those things aren't contradictory. A lot of times, at least with kids, being shy tends to make people think they're even more cute or adorable. So, yeah, it'd be better if she wasn't so shy, if she was more confident, but she's been living in this cabin her entire life, with only talking wolves around. So, she probably, isn't used to other people. Probably would have some social anxiety or something with that. Mary, what do you know about the talking wolves? She hugs tight her plushie as soon as she hears my question, hiding the lower half of her face behind it. Not much, just that they are attracted by the noise and light. Well, see, now you'd know that the light attracts it. Yes, of course. I look around as I think about it. It's a hard riddle. Feels dumb to believe I can come to understand the creatures of a haunted forest in less than one night. What is this? I exclaimed, confused, when I noticed there was a note between the stuff in her room. I don't know how I didn't see it before. It magically appears. As I walk towards it, I think it appeared from nowhere. Exactly. Then I pick it up and read what it says. No matter how much it hurts, don't cry. It's tears what attracts them, not blood. I make a weird face after reading it. Of all the messages, this has been the most uncomfortable until now. You didn't need until now there. Then I turn to Mary, who looks at me with curiosity. Mary, did you write this message? I see how she instantly shakes her head in denial. No, I've never seen it before. Sometimes things appear or disappear in this place. She pauses and looks down. I don't know how, but it happens. How weird, I exclaim, confused. I'm not proud of my answer, but there's nothing else I could say about it. Then I go quiet. I close my eyes as I think another answer. When I open them again, I see Mary sitting at the edge of the bed. I read the message one more time before leaving it on the floor. Litterer! I guess it's better to forget all the questions and just focus on the information presented at us. That's when something suddenly comes to my mind. Light and sound attract them, I murmur before looking at Mary. Getting the idea? Distractions? She looks back at me with curiosity. Mary, I was thinking maybe we should try to make a lot of noise when we see a wolf. So you're just gonna scream in their face when they're about to eat you? Okay. She shivers after hearing me. But wouldn't that attract more of them? I tilt my head and smile. I was thinking we should try the opposite. I know it sounds crazy, but if they are so that should be sensitive to sound, maybe a lot of sound would be unpleasant to them, and they would go away. Yeah, but game logic. It's crazy, and maybe even dangerous. I strangely start to feel guilty just for suggesting it, but I do believe it could work. I honestly think it's possible. Possible. At least if it turns out I'm mistaken, I can always run to save me life. I scratch my head while making a weird face. Pretty soon, you're gonna lose hair from scratching your head so much. I'm sorry. Before suggesting something like this, I should test it first. I should go out and find a wolf to try it out. My heart races just from thinking about it. Finding a wolf sounds like the stupidest thing I could do. But it is necessary. I don't want to put a little girl in danger. However, it is Mary herself who stops me. No, it's alright. She's probably afraid if you leave, you're gonna leave her behind, she said before standing up. She looks at me with shy confidence. If Gary says so, then it must be true. Actually, Mary, I think it's better to try it before. She shakes her head. No, I want to go with you. Then she hugs her plushie tightly, hiding her face partially. Suddenly, she looks very sad and worried. I don't want you to escape without me. After saying that, she looks down, avoiding my eyes. Everything becomes quiet. I feel as if something inside me had broken. What should I say? How can I comfort her? My mind is blank, feeling a mixture of guilt and pity. I wouldn't abandon her like that, but I can't make her trust me after just meeting each other. Do you really want to come with me? I ask while I pet her head gently, to what she answers with a nod. Okay, as far as we know, we're still standing by the door and she's sitting on the bed. At least that's what I think is going on, so the room is a lot smaller than I first thought, or you have really long arms. Yes, after hearing you talk about the outside, I would like to see it at least once. Hearing her say that warms my heart. I guess it's my fault. I gently smile for a second before sighing. All right, I'll let you come with me. But if it doesn't work, I want you to run as fast as possible. Yes! As she says that, she hides her face behind her plushie. Seeing how shy she is, I think the hard part would be keeping her close when a wolf appears. Shy isn't the same as, scared. She is scared, obviously. Anybody would be. But just because you're shy doesn't mean you're automatically gonna run away. I sigh again, only this time relieved. Well, I think we should get prepared. Mysteriously. Well, you know what? Pause it for here now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.